Sorry. We're not live, Josh. We're recording. So this is a post recording from the Josh Wentzillah stream. So we were talking on the stream about influences like Firefly. You didn't say like, oh, I didn't reference Firefly or Serenity into my stuff, but where is the influence for Firefly into your work? Like that was
I think Amrak. I would say just there being a different story, sci-fi story other than Star Wars that kind of has, you know.
It had the same vibe. It had like the vibe of Cowboy Bebop, but it's not.
I was just gonna say Cowboy Bebop. Yes.
I happen to be wearing a Spike Spiegel shirt.
I wondered what that was, man. Yeah. So it filled that gap after Star Wars, and like we didn't have the Boba Fett like we do now, or not Boba Fett. Sorry, Mandalorian like we do now. It filled that cowboy niche that everyone kind of liked back in the day. Are you both?
I was kidding. But yes.
Anyway, it filled that cowboy niche, right? So like, yeah, it's of all the things not to be resurrected, like that's one of the ones now with Mandalorian that shit. But yeah, it definitely fits in with your Amrak vibe, like absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there. I watch everything sci-fi.
Like what?
Everything. I watch everything. I think.
Do you really? I just not. Do you watch The Expanse?
There's so much content.
I have watched The Expanse, but
I haven't watched it.
I watched like the first season, then I never picked back up on. I'm into like crazy dumb dramas also, so like anything like Law and Order, I'll watch all that stuff. Like I love
Grey's Anatomy.
I have watched it. Gilmore Girls.
I watched
Yes.
I like Gilmore Girls too.
It's the wittiest show ever.
Oh, this is deep behind the scenes. So I had 3 girlfriends. I went through them, and I was like the new girlfriend was like, yeah, I've seen this season, and then the next girlfriend's like, God, I've seen this season. They're fine, but somewhere in the middle, the banter gets so fast and so much. I'm like, I'm getting anxiety listening to these people speak.
Yeah,
right? But,
yeah, it can happen.
Writing.
But I mean, like all the CW shows are like, I mean, like The Flash is like that. You know what I mean?
Like, it is a little talky. It's so good though. Like Lorelai and Rory, they're my girls.
Yeah, if we just bury Lorelai, if we just bury them with conversation, technology, and the Speed Force, like they'll move on.
And what's his name? Gunn, his brother was in Gilmore Girls.
Was he really?
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was Kirk. No, he was Kirk in Gilmore Girls. Now he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Yes. So
that is very
So I was very much into going to Comic Cons. I used to do. I don't know if I'm yelling because I only have one headphone in. So
no, you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're screaming at us right now, Josh.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to insult the guest.
Yeah, I used to do like cosplay, professional suit acting, Ranger stuff. So I did a lot of Comic Cons, and when at the Comic Cons, he was there. It's not Sean Gunn. It's what's his? Is it?
It's Gunn. I don't remember. Kirk Space.
Yeah. He was there. It's Sean, right?
Okay.
It's Sean.
Yeah, it's not James. It's Sean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So James's brother Sean, also Gilmore Girls. So my fiance was there with me, and I've never seen her like fanboy out. And she's like, "Oh my god!" Like. She was shaking when she went up to him and stuff, and I was dying, like laughing, because I mean, like, I've met people like Momoa and stuff like that, like these huge like superstars. So, and I guess Ryan Hartley for me, that was one where I was kind of like fanboyish. But as far as like Rangers and stuff, like those guys were all just pretty normal for me.
Yeah, I've met a few of the Rangers, and they were always like really down to earth and just like. And it was actually sort of right before, I mean, it was before all the new toys and stuff kind of started coming out.
Yeah.
Kind of before this resurgence of Power Rangers started, like, really.
That's when it was
so, like,
Legacy.
I met, like, a lot of those guys, like, just randomly, like, so I go to Dragon Con every year, and that's in Atlanta.
Yep.
There's, like, the huge, like, Hall of Fame hall, and we would, even if we don't go up to, like, meet people, because I don't really care about autographs, personally, but, like, sometimes I would stand in line just to be like, hey, nice to meet you. I just wanted to say hi. I love your stuff or blah, blah, blah. And I wouldn't even like have them sign anything because I don't care, you know? So I'd just be like, hey, but that really wanted to just say hi or shake your hand. Or sometimes my friends would be like, oh, I really need to meet this person or something like that. So we would go like, you know, But most of the time, we just kind of like walk the circle and just kind of be like, "Oh, that's what they look like in real life." Interesting.
Wait, I want to circle back. Wait. There was like this little like you threw a hook out there, so I'll bite. Go back. Professional costume cosplay. There's a whole other element here, Josh. So what is this?
Yeah, suit acting and stuff. If you check out Chris, if you check out Chris Cantata. I always say his name wrong.
Say it three more times and I'll get it. Cantata.
He is like a huge YouTuber, and I'm in a few of his videos that have like tens of millions of views. So I was the champ from Uchu Sentai. It's a big, huge mechanical bull. Yeah. I was him in one of them, and I'm like, the champ is here, and I just did a morph. That's all I did. I was also in one where I was a gold Dino Charge Ranger. And I was like, unleash the power, energize, and I did all that. So I've done a couple
coming out there.
Yeah.
For what forum though? Like, where did you do this at? Like, is that a con or like?
I did one in Florida, one in California. I used to travel quite a bit for the Comic-Cons. Every month we would go to a different convention and do something. And at the same time, I was making morphers for the actors and stuff. I was working at the end.
Wait. What do you mean you were making morphers? What do you mean, like?
The legacy morphers, I was remaking them, personalizing them, customizing them. Actually, JDF and Francis, his at the time, it was like his right hand man, like his everything. I want to say producer, but I don't know how to explain it. But she was
like personal assistant, sort of, but more.
Yeah, but she was with more to it, and she got really close. Actually, with my mom, because my mom went to some of the events. And they just like hit it off, and then I actually ended up getting closer with her than anybody out there, and she's the one that got me back into doing toys. So yeah,
really,
yeah, because I went to this convention, and I only had like $40. I knew nothing about the convention. It was my first one. Wasn't suit acting, wasn't making any props, because I started with props, and then I met her, and she was like, I was like, I got $40. I was hoping to meet him and get a picture, and she's like, oh. Honey, that's not enough money. She's like, but I'm gonna take care. She's like, I'll take care of you because it's your first time. And I was like, oh, really? And then, like, just all the stuff that she had there, and I was like, oh, what's that dagger? And she's like, that's from the show. And I was like, what? So I immediately left and went to Toys R Us and bought one of the dragon daggers, and then it just was history from there. And the first time,
wait, hold on. So you've been IGing for 8 years. How long ago was that then? When was this around?
Probably 2014, 2013.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was the only one like really hitting the cons like that at the time. And then
sometimes what's the Red Ranger's name and the Black Ranger? I would see them a lot.
Austin St. John and
Austin St. John would be
Emmanuel
a decent amount.
I always forget his name.
Black Ranger would be there a decent amount. Every once in a while, the Blue Ranger would be there. Whatever. I'm sorry, I don't remember the actors' names. I don't remember.
It's okay.
I'm bad.
Emmanuel Jones. He was actually in our Black Ranger video where I was the Black Bull, and they were like, "What should we do for this thing?" Because we're trying to do like this Wakanda feel thing. And I was like, "What if we?" Because I couldn't do a lot in that bull suit. I was like, "What if we just like shrugged our shoulders?" And everyone's like, "That's a good idea." So if you watch it, you got the Black Ranger in front of us, and he has a big axe, and he's like, ch-ch, and we're like, ch-ch, like doing this thing behind him. It's really,
awesome.
Yeah, Josh, really cool.
Please send me links to these videos because
I will. Yeah,
like I am fascinated by this.
That's fantastic.
It is. So
wait, Chris
I've been
really
involved
nice.
in some of those bigger like photo shoots for like cosplay at Dragon Con.
Yeah,
but mostly just because like somebody's like, oh, I love your like Robin costume you have on. Like come.
Yeah.
We don't have a Robin. He's sick or something. Like come hang out with our like Teen Titans crowd or something like that kind of thing. And I've done some of that stuff, but every time I'm doing it, I'm like, this feels weird.
So to keep
why am I surrounded by all these weird strangers?
Yeah, to keep it fun though, we would do one day where it was like less screen accurate and a product that we're wearing from a company, because we would do like with Anarchy and J2 cosplay, J-Toku cosplay, we would do like they would send me a suit for free or whatever. We would have to pay a certain amount, and then we would show up and we get so many people to buy from them. It was a big thing. But Anarchy actually makes some of the suits now for the actual show. I believe they're licensed with the show. So they were the same people that were making my helmets because I have a huge head. So all my stuff was custom. I did red. I could talk about this forever.
Very special.
Josh, it's fine. Like, please.
Red Dino Charge.
This is what this is about, Josh.
Yeah. So just,
there's a crazy bad Bruce Willis. It's not bad. It's like straight to DVD. Bruce Willis movie with Brennan in it, and he's the Red Dino Charge Ranger. Who I got to. All right, let me put this in terms for you guys.
Okay.
I was in the super suit that he wears, like when he bulks up and super morphs. Mm-hmm. So I was in this huge, like tons of armor suit that he wasn't in. Him and I did like a photo shoot together, and he was the regular version, the actual actor.
Yeah.
So the actual actor is telling me how to pose, wear helmet to helmet. It's like if you were talking to Vader. And like he's right there, like telling you, like, all right, now right leg back, then you gotta do this. Like, I was like, this isn't happening. This isn't real life. And it was just, it was a crazy experience. I ended up working with Boom Studios, Kyle Higgins, at the events, the Denver really Comic-Con. Cool, I was the actual.
So, hold on, to give me context. So this is all volunteer. Where you just kind of fell into it, right? This is when like a career path you were doing, or jobs, like you just started doing something and kind of fell in to the crowd.
Yeah, we. I jumped into it. I saw a lot of hate towards a guy in one of the Ranger groups, and I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" There's a lot of bashing because of
in a group,
in a Power Ranger group, though, and I didn't really like it. And I was running that group, and it was the biggest Ranger group on Facebook at the time, and I wasn't running it alone. I was one of the admins, and it was like my life, and I was like, this isn't okay. So I reached out to him. We ended up hitting it off, and we talked on the phone for 3 hours because I didn't like the way that people were, they were gay bashing him, and I was like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, have you ever thought about cosplay? I was like, yeah, right, dude. And he's like, no, really, like I professionally cosplay. You should think about it since, because I was getting some of the stuff for it, but I wasn't really trying to obtain the whole suit or anything. He's like, well, you can get your gloves from here. This is where we get our boots. This is where you get your belts.
There's all kinds of information out there.
Yeah, and he was like,
very ignorant. No idea. Very ignorant. So
there's certain gloves. There's certain.
Back in the day, before 2014, there was like replica prop forums. It was like a big thing.
Oh,
like,
sure. Spooner used to get all his Magnetos.
Yeah.
He'd pay like hundreds of dollars. He'd come to these Halloween in like a Magneto thing. I'm like, dude, I glued like forks to my hands for Wolverine. You're coming here with this. Like, come on, man. Like
that red suit that I'm talking about, the screen accurate, $1,700. Yeah.
But these cosplayers make up for, or at least nowadays it seems like it. But Joe has had the advantage of being able to
that are a dime a dozen now.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like Joe's had the advantage of going to cons, but I've gone to Korea, I've gone to Missouri in the middle of nowhere, like, you know what I mean? So like I'm always like looking at pictures afar, like that must be nice. Like So I'm just kind of estranged from it.
It's I always wanted to like retire out of cosplay. Like I haven't done cosplay. I obviously have like 30 extra pounds. I can't wear spandex right now. Yeah. But if I were to hit the gym like I was every day and not eat ever, then I could obtain that body of like 205. I was the biggest Power Ranger cosplayer there was, man.
Give up fun first of all, and then you'd be all good to go. So
yeah, I was always an armored version of something or a sixth Ranger. And the first time I cosplayed at New York Comic-Con was my first time, and it was huge. And I was a Yellow Ranger, so. The boy from Super Sentai, it was a guy. His name was Boy in the original Power Rangers. So I was like, yeah, I'm the guy from Japan. That worked out. So, but yeah, we were like, I was like my first time cosplaying. We're interviewing for TV and stuff, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, I forgot who was there, but it was like bigger, like not Cartoon Network, but something like. Some type of TV was there. I don't remember who, but
Dom,
it was crazy.
These leg holsters.
So first of all,
they get in the way a little bit, right?
So I'm having problems with like the stuff coming down, like he's dropping his drawers here, kind of like this is what my 3-year-old or my 5-year-old looks like when he comes out in the morning with his pants dropped around his ankle. So I'm having trouble with the shin guard.
I feel like this is like it limits the. This one's actually not that bad, but it limits the the movement on his leg that has the holster on it for sure.
No,
There's a lot of straps hanging down. One in particular is really bad about
here.
it.
Yeah, so they're hooked at the hips is the only problem. Him too, but you know what, man? Like, people bash toys with armor, like, oh, he's got no articulation. I'm like, guess what? When you wear armor,
yeah, when you have wear,
yeah. So it's the
when
same
you wear
thing.
armor,
Like,
you
look
don't
how
have
many
articulation.
nags he's got on here. Like, you're not. Like, if I had to get in and out of a truck, which I've had to get in and out of a truck with magazines and pistols like that, and it is a pain in the butt. They're getting hooked on stuff, and you're like, you know how those cowboys walk around like this? There's a reason why. It's not swag, you know what I mean? It's like they're literally like, let me heft my, you know. So like, so I think that it gets in the way.
This
and I'm
one is
about,
really bad.
I'm worried about shoving them in a vehicle.
This right leg has like the strap that comes around around the back, and all these pouches hanging down, and on the front, it's like his right leg is basically immobile from the hip. You know, like his other side,
saggy bottom,
not so bad.
Sure, yeah, he's got a droopy.
But the other side, man, this is the one I broke the wrist of, by the way.
I broke a freaking head in a peg in a helmet. Now I'm like, great, I gotta drill that out. But for you, I've been following your content for a while, and like the world building piece to it is appealing. And like, I think it was in a stream you just did this last week where he asked you like, do you just tinker or kit bash everything? And I like that lens about it where you just see something, you're like, how
pretty much
like you just said that right now, like, you could use that for parts. Oh, I could use that for here. So when do you seek out the stuff to add to your world, or do you see something and then you go, oh, I can add that now? Like, does your imagination start to, once you see it, are you hunting for that part?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think if there's something that I really like I'll just grab it to have it too. If I see it and if it's reasonable, I don't go crazy anymore like I used to. I guess it's hard to say when I have Hot Toys, right? But the Hot Toys is only first order and a few Marvel characters and some Shore Troopers, but that's it. That's it. That's all I'm doing.
My expensive thing is the Mezcos. I go Mezco 120.
I used to have Mezcos. I had to get rid of some things. I got rid of Mezcos. I got rid of Mythic Legions. Awesome interview last week, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's the thing. Even though I don't collect Mythic Legions, I'm like, well, they're talking about Legions. I'm not gonna watch it. No, I want to know about them. Yeah. I want to live that through that. And then you guys are talking about boss fight. Well, the whole reason I left Legions was for boss fight.
Yes.
Because I recreated my favorite stuff from Legions in boss fight form, and I can have it right here in the world. I mean,
what a different world it would have been.
Downsizing to the world makes a lot of sense.
If Mythic Legions had come out later than boss fight, it would have been a very different world for me. Like, I definitely would have invested more in a boss fight. And now, especially when I see people mixing orc heads on sci-fi bodies, I'm like, what? Like, never crossed my mind. You'd be like, oh yeah, sci-fi orcs, like that's genius. Not like warg orcs, but like, normal orcs. I'm like, oh,
so
man.
Dom, when I visited you at your home that one time, like Dom moves around for the military. So when I randomly came to his house, he had just gotten like the first wave of Mythic Legions.
Yeah.
And we like unboxed it together because we're toy nerds. So I
remember those.
I want to see. Yeah, but like even before that came out, Dom, you were already like you had gotten the Castle
Motu
Grayskull
classics.
and like super into Motu classics, and I was like, for me at the time, like all I did was 3 3/4. Like, so I was just like, what? And I mean, I had superheroes, like I had Batman, and like I had some DCU classics and stuff. Like I had a superhero collection that was deep cut. But like that being said, and I had a ton of Marvel Legends and like the old Toy Biz ones. But like, for me, I was just like, the superhero ones toys were just the ones I put up on the shelves behind me, and I'm just like, oh, I'll play with them a little bit. But playing with the toys or like actually building a world was all G.I. Joe size, kind of thing.
100%.
So when I came to your house that time and you had like this whole world made up of larger figures, I was like, hey, here we go. I gotta start getting all these now.
I forgot. I remember there was part of the stream where I was like, I meant to. That's what I wanted to talk about. So the struggle of 1/18 and like 1/10, 1/12 or whatever.
1/12,
yeah. I feel like for me, like I love all these 1/12 Mythic Legions. I love Marvel. I have a huge Marvel Legends, but I have tons of G.I. Joes, and I feel like I'm like constantly having to like well, let me go hang out with this group of friends now. No, you guys can't come with me. I got to go with these guys over here. And like, you know, these are my skater friends. Now I got to go hang out with my prep, you know, and my jock friends. Like,
yeah, but that's also why we concentrated that one video on like crossing those.
Well, yeah. So for Josh, for you said you do a lot of photography with 1/12, right? But I don't want to misquote you, but your heart is in 1/18th. Is that right?
I have no idea where my heart is.
Okay. That's how I feel.
It's really hard. I do think that for me, Star Wars wise, there are a few things that I want in 6-inch. Not much. I have a few things in 1/6, but ultimately my collection for Star Wars would be 1/18. Yeah. And I don't know. It's crazy. I have some of the same figures in all 3 scales. Like, it doesn't make sense. So like Rey, I have Hot Toys Rey. I have Rey 1/18 many times, different versions. It's insane.
I can't break that scale though. Like, and the money.
Oh yeah, I know.
First of all,
it's not. No, I hate that. I hate when people say the money. It's not. Listen, as much as you. But every time you go to the store, you spend $20, $25, $35. So if you didn't do that every time you went to the store, or if you took a couple pre-orders down, that's a hot toy. And not all the hot toys are that much. Everything that's released, you could get now for
pre-orders down, Josh.
You could get a lot of stuff for under $200. All of my hot toys were around $200. I have my Kylo I got for like $150, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was just used. That's
what hot toy almost broke me, and I was this close. It was that Obi-Wan, that like in between Obi-Wan, the one where he was like, it was a
I don't know if you want. I think you want a helmeted character for your first hot toy. Because there's no.
I have Iron Man is anotother one I've almost done. Like,
with Iron Man, you have multiple heads. Yeah. But. But I can't spend $300 on Anakin, the new one that came out, when he has like one head. Like, how am I supposed to pose him in a different mood? I was like, maybe I put a scarf over his face. Like, I don't.
What's funny about this is that I teased Joe about Mezco. I'm like, oh my god, that Superman's $125. Like, yeah, Dom, but you just bought a wave of Marvel Legends. I'm like, yeah, okay. Now
I buy
no, Joe,
Mezco.
no. I want to hear this. Now you got hot toys coming over your Mezco, and it's very refreshing to hear the same.
I can't.
Are you guys? Did you guys tune in? I know you guys. I think you jumped in last night from Toy DOMination.
I popped into yours for a little while.
For the Bandito, that vehicle that's coming out, the 112. It's not a Challenger. It's not a Charger. It's Chevelle. It's a Chevelle from Odd Frog. Yeah, really cool. It's like 180 something, I believe, the price point, but it like lights up and everything.
That's cheaper than the HasLab.
It's so big. It's so big.
It's that price. That's a decent price point. Like when you think.
And that's free shipping, I believe. I think it's like two something after taxes, but it's free shipping.
Who makes that?
Odd Frog, 112. I don't want to say the wrong name because there was someone who tried to do a car a while back that didn't make it. So but yeah, they have like, they are toy makers. They worked with Mattel. They've worked for Mattel. Tons of information in that live last night.
New toy makers that are just like, I used to work for this company and I got fired, or I quit, or whatever's going on, and now I'm just gonna make my own thing. And like, there's so many good things out there for collect. Like the Turtle Van thing last year was like, Super 7 has a Turtle Van, it's $500, and like NECA has a Turtle Van, it's like $400, and then there's this other one for $200, and everyone's like, this thing lights up and it's amazing. Like, what in the world? Like, where is this coming from? And I'm like,
and Spiro Toys,
that's just some small company that's like, we're just gonna make a Turtle Van, kind of thing. Yeah, that's affordable. And
I've known Jason from Spiro Toys when he was like writing the comics and stuff. Like, I remember reading the first issue, and like in the way that he like would illustrate it would be a lot like a toy photographer would take a shot. Like a lot of the like, there's one that I remember off the top of my head where he was in the water. I think Pale was walking through the river or something in the jungle, and it's a shot where the water is, you can see the top of the water and under the water at the same time. And it was just a really cool shot, and I was like, wow. Like, and just knowing the story, is kind of cool. But now that the figures are in 1/12 scale, he can do a lot more with the tooling and stuff. So,
Josh, do you know why? Do you know why you noticed that? It's because you're a photographer. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know why you're denying that.
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying there are.
I disagree. You've denied it multiple times.
So I think I understand what you mean. That you are putting, when you say, I think, let me correct me if I'm wrong, but you're putting toy photographer as like, well, this is a professional. This is that what's it called? Not palette. What's the thing? Column I'm putting it on, right? Like
I don't even think I'm a world builder. Honestly, I'm not good at building, but I can.
What in the world?
I can incorporate a lot of other people's buildings into my world. Like, I can make a landing platform, kind of.
I'm not a world builder. You've literally got a giant world behind you with its own story.
Define for me world building then, because I've heard criticism against 1/12 and 1/10 saying you can't world build. So define world building for me in your words. What does world building mean, Josh?
I mean, like the actual physical world building. Like, there's guys out there that have just platforms and things that they've planned out, and it looks beautiful. And my stuff is just kind of, this will fit here, and we'll put that on top of that, and then
that's all they're doing, Josh.
So yeah, but it's thought out
right now is world building.
And it's like they're woodworkers. A lot of them have been like cabinet makers, and they can make, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them, you know, and I don't know any of that, so I'm just like drilling stuff. I'm like, well, that didn't work, and like there's a lot of fail when it comes to this stuff.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Yeah, so that is not world building. So what you just described was a specific craft in a specific medium, right? So like, oh, he's a world builder. Forge does resin, like he does amazing resin work. I can't
do that.
But what you said it during the stream too. You're like, I tried to copy Empire Toyworks. I'm like, well, this is flattering to him, and it's not what I want, right? So you don't do that. It's just like writing. I am inspired by this, but I should probably figure out my own flavor to that, right? So take that. World building is not the amount of stuff you produce. Like, that is not what it is. World building is, I have this thing, and I could never take this beyond just looking at this figure and be like, well, his name's Chuck, and I think what he is that's world building. Is when you build a tapestry and you have a history. You described Amrex.
I can do that. I can do that part. But I mean the physical.
You have an atmosphere. You have a recycle. No, I'm cutting you off. You have dinosaur poop with an ecosystem that feeds into your fuel. And
your ceiling has clowns on it. That's world building. That's world building.
That's
just an LED cloud. Everyone, go on YouTube. There's tons of them.
Well, now you ruined the illusion for me, Josh.
What are those vertical purple lights in your station back there? Or I'm sorry, your spot. Amrock spot. Cool.
Yeah, stop calling it now. It's they're just they're
cool. I love the rounded edges.
They're cylinder lights. I've tried to use them once for photography, and they just didn't. The way that they run are weird, so I couldn't link them right to make them work. I couldn't manipulate them enough, so they ended up just being put in there. They're upside down, and then half of the world building is the electrical, right? The lighting, like running lights and finding where you can hide.
Pig, Josh, lipstick on a pig. I'm telling you right now, when you described this is the coffee spot and that is world building. When you put character into a thing, that is world building. And like,
I think if you can run power through your world,
the lighting just
really
looks cool.
challenging. It's challenging.
But that's an engineer's challenge, right? That's not a world building challenge. Like that.
The world building is the story of your world.
100%. That's what I'm steering on. Now, if you're ashamed of the fact that you haven't built out this elaborate, intricate, that's covering all my walls, and there's a monorail that flows through, and look at solar power. If that's what you're comparing to, then by all means have your own goals. But you can't take away from what you have achieved, which is the story, and that is what appeals to me.
Yeah.
Like, you can have the most elaborate Macy's Christmas setup ever, but if it's just a carbon copy, then I'm like, there's no world building to this. You looked at something and made a clone of it. That's not world building.
Yeah.
When you have characters you've modeled off your friends, and you described veterans and rookies, and like that, you're breathing life into this ecosystem that people live into.
I think just the economy of your Amrex
that was good too. Yep.
Is
Kind of a bad business plan, though, right? Free fuel. Or
No,
you think that?
You get them hooked, right? You
No, you get them hooked with the free fuel, then
and
they buy
stay
all
with
the food.
gambling and prostitution. No.
I'm just saying, if you're going from Fatback Station and you were going to Sky Bottom and then to Rock Gut, you maybe need to stop somewhere in between for some fuel. Yeah. Come on over, have a hot cup of Joe, and you're good.
Go. And while you're fueling up, I've got these other things over here too. So that was one thing that's interesting to me is that I knew Empire from a long time ago from some blog. It was like Imperial Shipyards or whatever, and I saw the Thomas train table in its raw form and him building up.
Wow,
I was like, this looks cool. And in his first entry in the blog was, I hate styrofoam dioramas. Don't get me wrong, it's phenomenal, but it's not durable. And that's what made me like, I will have children someday, and I also play with my toys and drag them out into the yard, and I move all the time, so I need them durable.
What are you gonna be? Perfect. That's right.
Playable.
It's gotta be
well, I think Mr. Chris Saylor is wrong, and I think foam is fine because I don't woodcraft. So screw that. There's some wood.
I held myself to the standard of like, well, Chris said I can't use foam, so I've got to use wood. But just to your point is you were emulating something and you realize like, I should do my own thing onto this too and blend those things too. So I got hooked on wood. That sounds weird. I'm gonna edit that out. But yeah, it was the same way. And then as I see people adding Greeble work,
were you eating 2 sandwiches, Tom?
Yes, no, it's one.
He's a woodchucker. Woodchucking.
Come on, that was innocent. Greeble work is a perfect example of that. Taking junk and just being able to slap stuff on there, like accepting the fact that like, this is, like I can take apart this pen, like, look, now it's a tube for things to go through. I'm like, I can allow, you know what I mean? It's allowing yourself to be able to have that imagination and do that. And like,
I mean, that pen you can use for propulsion on like a little bike, made a jet bike.
Josh,
if you wanted to.
I'm so glad you came onto the show.
If you wanted to.
If you want to, you can use
take 2 pens. You'd have 2. Yeah.
So like we showed Macon Hicks 6 work. And he made like a total speeder bike out of nothing but junk. It's just like completely cobbled it together. And when you're done, it looks like a pod racer from an actual toy line. I was like, man, like that's so good. So I love that play and creativity in toys.
And I think 118 is a customizer's dream because everything kind of links up. And when it's your own world, you can bring anything into it. Like you said, 112 can sometimes make an appearance. It could be part of it.
Yeah.
Especially like if you don't want to buy the big mechs like that from the new What If series, that big it's not a Hulk Buster, it's the big Iron Man suit. Yes. It's like 30 it's like $30. You could get 3 or 4 of those for the price of a Joy toy and have 4 of those guys patrolling the street or whatever.
I took my Triskelion Sentinel, the one with the 3 heads, to build a figure, the really skinny purple one.
Yeah,
he's currently walking on our ship right now, and I had him show up, and the boys are like, "What's he doing here?" I'm like, "It's another alien race. You've never seen him." And he's towering with all the figures, and my boys are like, "What are you supposed to do with this guy?" Instantly, they took him apart because my boys are ruthless. They're like, "We fear it. Kill it," And they always play with Jawas, so the instantly are just like, "Oh, we can rip out all those."
Well, that's like, cool.
Oh, so playing with my sons, and I've been told this before. It's like, oh, it's so great you're sharing this with your boys. I'm like, let me tell you something true. I'd be doing this without them, and will when they're too cool for school. But playing with my boys, and like my ship is a hot mess right now because, like, I'm looking at it right now. There's Gundam suits that looks like they slaughtered. What's his name? That big blue Max thing from the Cantina set, and like. There's ships crashing the parking decks, and like it is just a graveyard over there. And they pull out the Final Faction things. They were doing a raid. They're like, "Dad, this spread a virus. So all these people are turning into these guys." I'm like, "This is awesome. This is so much better than a diorama for me." And like, it's awesome. Like I can't describe like coming home and seeing the things that they've cobbled together. Like, look, Dad, we made a Jawa place, and all these ships are scrap. I'm like. That's a huge mess, and it's going to take me an hour to find all those pieces, but that is awesome. So that's why I asked if your daughter played with you, but the fact
she's not really into all this stuff, but yeah.
Photography piece is
how she does
how
like
old
that.
are your kids? How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
3, so boy, 17, 14, and 10. So
okay, wow. Okay.
All girls. All girls?
Yeah.
All girls. No, we just had a teacher.
I only have 2, and I lucked out
today.
the second one was a boy. But also, my daughter loves the toys right now. You know what I mean?
Right
so,
now,
like,
until she's like 8
right
or
now.
9.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
And then
like,
it's
if she's like, I'm done with
YouTube
this,
and
I'll be like, cool. You know?
yeah, it's all tablets and YouTube and fun stuff like that. Minecraft.
At some point.
Yeah.
My son's too young to play, and he tries. But really, he just like grabs something he wants to chew on and then runs off. And then my daughter is
thing.
like, she's so weirdly enough. I showed her Star Wars, the original trilogy, recently, and then I realized even the prequels are kind of like they're okay, but the third one's PG-13. I was like, well, if I can't show her the whole trilogy,
It gets
why
intense,
yeah, like why would I show her that at all? So I haven't shown her episode 1, 2, and 3 at all, and then the
But the new stuff,
7, 8, 9 are PG-13 the whole way.
Perfect.
So okay,
yeah.
well, I guess I'm gonna wait. You know, so
And
I just showed her original trilogy, but I had been getting her these toy box toys, which is like the Disney version, the little 5-inch scale, and it's like very cartoonified. But
Yeah.
it's also like Pixar, and everything's like mixed in with it. Long story short, she saw I had like a few Black Series, like 2 or 3 Black Series. And she's like, I want to play with your Luke Skywalker. I'm like, okay. And then so it's already shifted. She's already like, I don't want these cartoony toys. I want the ones that look like the actors. So we already have like 3 or 4 Princess Leia's, so she can change outfits and like. And I'm like, I guess I'm gonna keep buying these. I need to very quickly be like, why don't we shift to 1/18th scale so they can actually fit in these ships, you know, kind of thing. Because she's already kind of like, I really want Leia to look like Leia. I want Luke to look like Luke. You know, like I don't want
my youngest, when she was doing like a custom, like she wanted to do what I was doing, and she was picking out like the best parts out of all my drawers, and I was like,
and you're just like, I want those toys.
She's like, I really like this book bag, and back then book bags were no one had a book bag. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. So you had that one book bag, and I was like, "Yeah, you can use a book bag. It's fine.
That's fine. That's fine."
The worst.
I was saving that for a character.
Yeah, that's fine.
The worst I had was when I taught the boys that Mythic Legions were modular. They started popping them all apart, and like for me, I don't care. Like they can play with anything. Like there's stuff that I'll pick up and be like, why is this guy? Oh wait, because I have kids. But the Mythic Legions, I literally was having like an OCD moment because they were plugging like he's got a green armor and a blue hat. I'm like, you can't do that. Like I was constantly just watching the whole time. Like, look, Dad, I made a custom. Like, I'm gonna.
They're so expensive now.
Well, so they're the ones that I have to play with them when I'm there. But when I'm there, they're like I've got a pile of Marvel Legends, Mythic Legions, and Motu right here in a forest setting, and like that's fine. Like Finn loves Thistlethorn; they can play with it. But when they were taking him apart,
Thistlethorn,
he's
one of the best.
I almost passed on that guy, but I was like,
love the little ones. I love the little ones.
He's so good. He's just brimming with character.
That head sculpt, man,
it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was
good.
something you said too that I wanted to go back to, and I appreciated this more than you realize when you said like, the new Star Wars, like I loved it. That's what got me back into it. That's very refreshing to hear because I feel like at Joe's and my age bracket, and then a little bit beyond ours, we get all the, how do I say this, curmudgeons who are like, that's not my, and it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not. That's exactly the point.
Go ahead.
It's for like
the new Teenage Ninja Turtles trailer
Josh,
is a good example.
Yeah, Josh, go ahead.
No, I was listening. Yeah, no,
it's just like everyone's just like, oh, this isn't the right thing, and you're just like, that's not for you. It's for the kid. It's for the kids.
Yeah, there are things now. There are things intertwined in it for.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
I guess at this point in time, like 40 to 50-year-old, like there's stuff in there for you still. Like but to see it through my daughter's eyes, Ray's a bad butt.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I say no cuss word? Yeah, bad booty. She's so cool.
Good for you. I appreciate that. Good job.
But yeah, she watches that and she's like, Ray's really cool. Wonder Woman is. She like when Wonder Woman came out, my daughter was like the age of that little girl that was in the first one. When she was a kid, Wonder Woman, she's like watching it like, holy crap, that little she's doing that. And I was like, yeah.
I've been doing the Lord's
It's
work
like-
with Wonder Woman on my daughter. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and then when
And I
everyone
show her
complained,
pieces of the movies, you know,
and
she's
everyone
too young.
complained about that, the woman power thing from Endgame. I don't care. It wasn't.
Yeah,
They didn't do that for me. I don't give a crap. Like, stop complaining about it. That wasn't for me. It's for my daughter. My daughter loved that part.
Also,
She even said,
2
like,
seconds of the movie. Like, why?
and
are
when
they
it happened,
whining
she said, "Look at all the girls are together, Dad." I was like, "That's awesome,"
There
because
you
it was
go.
for her to say that in that moment. That's
So
why they did it.
I
Like,
was
Also,
very-
you know what? I also felt the same way. I didn't see that and went, "What the? Why are they?" I went, "Oh, look at all the girls together. It's awesome." You know, like that was my reaction. And I'm
I
like,
will
why
say
isn't other
that-
people my age having that same reaction? You know, it's
I
like
will say
crazy.
I was very like 2012ish.
it's too fan servicey.
So well,
I'm
no. So
angry.
2012, it was.
yeah, it is. It is.
Miles
Yeah.
Morales. Miles Morales came out and they killed Ultimate Peter Parker and they brought
Yeah,
Miles
yeah.
Morales out, right? So I was like, why did you kill Peter Parker? That's stupid. Oh, you're just trying to put this character in there. Then I read Miles' comic and I was like, and it was written by Bendis.
So
I'm like,
good.
this is
Yeah.
really good.
So good.
This is really good. And then you see these Spider-Verse, and someone pointed out to me too. They're like, "Hey, take a look at the Avengers." I'm like, "Yeah, what's wrong?" There's like Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Thor. They're all the same. I'm like, "Oh." It's like, yeah. So like, it's necessary. Like, I don't
You know
think
what's
it's
funny,
You
Dom,
actually
about
have
this?
to have that. So Miles is like,
Yeah,
Miles is important for my son's best friends to be able to look at that and be like, "I can be Spider-Man too." I'm like,
100%.
never mind.
agree.
I'm so sorry. You guys were spot on. Like, this made it so much more appealing to more people. Like, and the same thing with the female characters, like Wonder
I
Woman.
think
like,
so,
it's much
but
better now.
because my kids biracial, they're biracial, but so when my younger kids were growing up, like they're darker, some like 2 out of the 3, and they wanted the opposite of them though. Sometimes like they wanted the white
Yeah, but there's
baby
plenty of
doll.
There's
You know what I
plenty of-
mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they didn't always want the one that was them. They didn't always want the black
Sure,
version. They wanted the white version because it was different from them. They wanted to play with the white girl's hair, baby hair, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all what your kid wants. It's too many people saying
Oh,
this
my
how it
daughter
has,
plenty
you know,
of Moana dolls and
yeah.
Tiana from Frog Princess and
The
stuff like
point is
that.
there's
Like,
more
and she likes
opportunity
those,
now,
and Jasmine,
yeah.
she likes those just as much as Belle and Cinderella and everything else. But she wants, oh, I want to play with Jasmine today, or I want to play with Tiana, and I'm like, you're the best. And you don't even know it, and you don't even know why. Like, it's amazing.
yeah.
I was
And
just
I think-
talking to my wife. We were at
Wait, hold on.
dinner the other night.
Wait. Josh had something. Hold on.
I wasn't probably as important, but I was just gonna say
no,
our
it's okay.
first like live action, I guess was like Keaton and stuff, but then you had Spawn, like, and that to me,
Yeah.
like they're not ever gonna make that character white. I hope they don't. I don't want it to be. I want it to be Michael J. White. Like, that's what I want
Yeah.
forever.
Oh, they
no,
won't do that. They won't do that.
but I mean Blade. I mean stuff like that. Like that character, I don't want it to be white though. I guess
It'll never go back that
now
way.
I do love Sam. Was it Wilson? Right? Is that right for Cap?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I love him being Cap. That's awesome. Like,
But that's
he's-
the thing
great.
is that
They
can
skipped
have,
over Bucky for that, and I don't even care.
That's fine.
Like,
Yeah.
comic
Great,
history
it was
wise.
smart. It made
Yeah.
story
because it
sense
makes
too,
more
right?
sense to go with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, so my boys, they were young, and like again, I had kind of what you were saying, Josh. Of like they just like, hey, I want this one, but it was a realization. Like, he was looking at the blue and red Spider-Man. He was like, wait, this is Spider-Man. I was like, yes. Then he held up Miles. Like, this is Spider-Man too. I was like, it's just different guys, but it's also Spider-Man. He's like, okay, instantly accepted. There can be 2 Spider-Mans.
That's kind of what I was saying. So,
And
like,
I was like,
Yeah.
this worked.
my
man.
daughter
Like,
started
yeah.
watching the Spidey Friends thing on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. You know,
Yeah.
and so like she started watching it, and I was just, and it's fine. I mean, it's a very childlike cartoon, so it's whatever. But like for me, I'm like, this is fine. It's superheroes. It's fine. But it's all about like Gwen and Miles and Peter, and they're like hanging out. And yeah, Peter's sort of the main one, but it's really about the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mhm.
we were just at dinner, and I was just like, it's really cool that Violet's getting this idea of Spider-Man or what it means to be Spider-Man. Because for me, it was just Peter Parker. I grew up with Peter Parker, and that was.
But now it's Gwen.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now for her, it's like she has Miles and Peter and Gwen all hanging out together, and that's normal to her.
Yep.
So I'm like, that's really like she's growing up in a world that's like so vastly more interesting and different, and like she can see herself in Gwen or my, and I'm just like, I love that is where she's starting. You know what I mean? Like I find that intriguing.
And when we're talking about the G.I. Joe Classified too, and this is for everyone who's watching this now, they'd be like, "Oh, Dom, shut up! You've talked about this." But why it was like, Josh, you don't see this as like any of the trappings and baggage of like the 1980s. Like,
it's refreshing.
Yeah, you get know like the where's my freaking neck beard? Anyways, my neck beard of like, no, rock and roll was this and blah blah blah, and his tattoo was on this side. Oh, here it is. Like wrong, right? Like you don't have that. You just see like this cool character, and I think as toy collectors, we get just so wrapped up about like it has to be this way, and it stifles innovation, it stifles change. And almost like I like seeing new IP. Like new IP is some of the cool. Like you brought up AWOC several times. I'm like, I missed it on the 4-inch scale because I didn't want that in my 4-inch scale, but the 6-inch scale now, I'm like, oh no. Oh yeah,
no. The 4-inch scale are not great figures, but he knew that, and he always asked questions like, how can I retool this to make this better? He has ideas of doing it better in the future, different joints and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But they're great for an animal figure. Like they're perfect. Like I can make them work and make them look awesome, like to me. But there are things that he wants to retool on them too. So I mean,
well, I bought the one with the cyborg arm, and he basically became my Dark Beast from Age of Apocalypse.
Okay,
he's on my ship, and because he's got a cyborg arm, he's a big ape that's like hacking up aliens and stuff, and like it fit in instantly. So I just didn't see that previously, but like new IP, like it doesn't come with the baggage, and to be able to talk to someone like you, who is, and that's why I said like I think your age is a little bit younger than us too. It's refreshing because you're not coming in from like these idiots it has, but these morons.
Also,
it's like,
Josh, you look younger, by the way. When you said your age, I was like, what, really?
I'm 37. Yeah,
I pegged you at 32, man. You
know, wow.
I'm just saying, I shot a full 5 years younger than you. Right.
Yep. Nope. I already own my own home and all that jazz, so I'm like, I'm old.
Switch this to an adulting concept. All right, great. Let's talk about taxes. Tax season's coming up.
House taxes, land taxes. Let's talk about that fun stuff. So they added a driveway on my taxes this year that I've had for 10 years. So that's weird. I called them and they were like, yeah, the township was like, we made a mistake and we did that to everyone's taxes. I was like, oh. Okay, well, my house went. Yeah, my house in value went up like $40,000. I was like, "That's cool." So,
do you actually have another driveway? They just tax you for another driveway?
No, they said that it was just like previously added on everyone's taxes. And I was like, "I've always had a paved driveway. I don't." But yeah, they added it. They just put that it was recently added, and I was like, "Nope, it's been there." So
recently added.
Yeah. It was really weird, and I called, and they were like, "Yeah, no, it didn't. That was on everybody's."
How long have you had that indoor toilet there, fella? We're gonna have to text you for that.
Right? No, I remember when, house talk. I remember we remodeled this whole thing. So, so the youngest is my biological daughter. So, that's
what you can do when she comes over is take that cotton down from the ceiling and just lay it on the floor. Here you go.
Sleep on this.
No, they were here when I redid it, so they were all part of the remodel and stuff in here. So yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of spray.
And now it's a space station.
Well, I was out in the garage forever, and I was so far away from everybody. It's literally like right off my house.
I got so distracted because you took your hat off and your hair went fling.
Oh yeah, it's wild. But I was out in the garage. I was like, I wanted it inside so I could be around everyone because I was working so much on stuff. So
So I made that mistake with having an external shed. And I was out there, I was like, so I like being alone. Like, I really do. But I was constantly like, I wonder what my wife and kids are doing right now. So I'm like, this is stupid. And then I had it in the basement, another house. Here we have in the basement, but it's right near the kitchen. So I'm like, I can like literally just peek around the stairs or whatever too. You're right. Like having that access so you're not completely on an island somewhere is important too. So.
I can literally look out the door into my daughter's room and the living room is right there. So I'm right here now. So it's nice.
This is connected to absolutely nothing. This is a
Sorry.
hard pivot. No. What I'm about to do, Josh, stop apologizing. Why do we always have nice people on this show? Like it's ridiculous. Like we always have these nice guys.
We absorb nice people because we are nice people.
But we're toxic, so it's weird. No, Josh, we wanted you to be able to talk, so like I feel bad ever interrupting you. This is connected to nothing, a hard pivot. But I just saw Joe. And like I've been dying to bring this back up again, my Havoc tank. So Joe and I have known each other for so long, Josh, and I have to tell you this story now. I'm bored you to tears. But I got into G.I. Joe collecting in the late 90s because I wanted to get all the toys I didn't have as a kid. So it's a weird like opposite nostalgia. Like I didn't have those, so I want them. So we went to this really crappy toy show, this toy shop in Fayetteville.
That's all there was then, though. So
it was like this guy. True. I don't know how he kept open. I'm like, do you live here? Like you know,
how do you have a storefront? Like how is this possible?
This is it, man. He was like Mo from Simpsons, like that desperate, you know. But anyways, I got a Havoc tank. I never had one. I was like, oh, look at this. And Joe was like, all right, man. And I was able to like move around. I was like, oh, it's so iconic. You know the story. So we were very kind of weird, open nerdy, but not. So when our other friends came up who could drive, they're like, what do you have? I'm like, I got this Havoc tank. And it's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I put it in the back seat of this car and we go see Starship Troopers in the theater. And we come, that's when this was. So they come out. And this idiot we knew like jumped in the back. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get in the back, and I hear this plastic crack. And like Joe,
it's the reverse of that. You were in the front seat. You put it down by the floorboards, and he's like, shotgun, and he like hopped in the front seat, and he just his feet just went slammed down on Dom's new tank, and Dom's like, no,
just crushed it like rage out, crushed this thing.
Oh my gosh!
And it was like a full 10 minutes so Dom could like calm down without killing him because he was capable of doing it. So it's weird because you're like a toy nerd and you're upset about a piece of plastic that's a tank in the bottom of a car, and at the same time he's physically capable of murdering the other human. So you're just like, this is a weird conundrum. He could kill you for this, and he almost might.
I just saw Havoc on a shelf, and I was debating getting rid of it. It's like today, I was like, I should just sell this. But it triggered that story. I was like, I gotta freaking tell Joe. And what's funny is that same night, several people, I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is over for this. That same night, they drove and they went and egged this guy's house. They took bananas and they wrote Beaver on his door. But the whole time I just sat in the car with my busted tank. I was like, I hate these guys. I hate these guys, man. And they all got caught later on. And they're like, well, Don wasn't there. I was like, no, because you broke my tank, man. So like,
so you're just sitting in the, while we're vandalizing the house, you're just sitting in a
shattered. So
in a car seat. Just
anyway, sorry, Josh.
Silver lining.
Yeah. So I had that thing, and I was like, because I have.
Oh yeah, my parents were not happy when the cops showed up at my house.
Yeah.
Man, I never got caught.
No, I mean, honestly, it was weirdly enough my fault, but also not.
Hey man, shaving cream through the screen on someone's window—that's awesome. Like that's really. Yeah.
You know what, so the funny. So this is the deep cut of this story. They're
Q-tips,
destroying
yard.
this kid's house, and I was just like sitting near the road, like kind of like I don't want to. I mean, I don't like the kid, but I'm not gonna like smash his house with eggs and do all this stuff. So I'll just sit here and watch for cars. And I was sitting in a bush, and I literally, like, you know, on your knees, like, crouched, and I pivoted my knees from one side to the other, and I hit something, and I was like, oh, that hurt. What the hell was that? And I, literally, that's it. Like, that's how much you think about it. You're just like, that hurt. That's weird. And then, like, an hour later, I was like, man, my knee really hurts from, what did I hit? And it ends up, it was, like, a spigot was sticking out of the ground. But it was on plastic, and I hit the metal of the spigot, and it broke, but it broke the plastic, and basically water proceeded to slowly bubble up and then pour down towards their homes.
Oh my gosh.
Totally accidental.
So it's my fault that they had this, that we all got caught, because it was like water damage and all kinds of horrible things that happened. It was basically like, here's some slapstick comedy, and meanwhile, I was like,
my gosh,
property damage.
And now I'll flub your house.
Oh my gosh, that's so awful.
So I saw that Havoc tank, and No,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Josh, you didn't like. You do not ever need to stop talking. Like, so your content's very interesting, right? So I went and looked at a bunch of videos and was like, let me find out more. I watched this guy on IG. Let me go see some stuff. But like the Marvel Legends videos you did were phenomenal. I was like, I read comics. I like those characters, and like you put together your Marvel team. You know, like this is my Iron Man team too.
Oh, you saw? I don't have any pictures of that. Of the pictures that are in that video, I don't have those. I don't have any. I have to recreate those shots because, or make them a little bit different. But I don't have those shots anymore. I wish I did, but when I was deleting stuff, they weren't even on there to save. So it was really weird. Instagram was like deleting some of my posts every once in a while, and I could never get those back. And usually, I used to put a video up weekly or 2 a week, but I'd always put them on my Facebook with the pictures from it to promote it. And they were not on my Facebook either, so I was like, no. So I don't have those. That was some of my favorite shots though. With the Iron Guard or whatever.
The Sentinels that you made for the Iron Guard, that was really cool. So that's when I was like, this guy reads comic books too, because those were really cool. And you put like you mixed Cannonball in there. I was like, how did you
my Fire Boys. Yeah, I want them all to be fire.
Yeah. So
I was like, it was weird, but yeah.
It wasn't weird. It was really cool. I was like, awesome.
That Pyro, those figures don't move great, but the Pyro figure is a great figure. But yeah, the body that I put those on, I don't love that body, but they were good army builds. So
yeah. It was the armored
guardsmen.
Yeah.
Because they were guardsmen for the Hall of Armor, but not for Tony. And I was like, well, if Tony were to do it, how could I do this gold and red and then bring the flame boy? Make them all flame. Make them all fire. So I think I had Pyro, Torch, and Johnny, right?
Yeah. I'll link that video in here. I enjoyed it. I love seeing the builds at the end. So I'll link the video in the
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, man.
I also didn't the Batman the armor bats. I made them with like the Lobo arms and stuff.
Oh,
I don't have any of those shots either, so I have to recreate that figure because I actually sold that figure, so I have to I have the parts for it, so I just hate doing things twice.
I've got the parts.
Yeah. Well, no, I traded for the parts because someone's like, "Hey, do you need any of these McFarlanes?" I was like, "You got a Lobo? I'll take a Lobo." Like, I don't really want to spend the money on doing it again, so I'll trade. They needed something, so I was like, "Yeah, no doubt." So it worked out.
So you said that photography, when I asked you about your tour, you said photography was your escape, but it seems like if you're able to just like kit bash, customize something and then sell it, kind of move it out, is that a bigger escape for you? Is like actually do the customizing and then be like, I'm good, I'm going to sell this and push it out?
I'm kind of to a place where I don't so much sell the figures. At one point in time, I had like a waiting list, and it was like $200 just to be on the waiting list because I was selling so much. Yeah. And then I was showing all my tricks though, so people learned how I was doing it. So it was kind of
worked yourself out of a job.
Yeah, which is fine because I think it's the best time to be a toy collector. You have so many toys to choose from, and I think
there was some dark periods of time when me and Dom were looking for 1/18. Like
now it's
times.
Now and both scales. I mean, it's a great time to be a toy collector. It really is, especially a customizer.
Why is that though? Go elaborate a little more on that. Why is it so great?
There's just so many lines and so much to choose from in the scale that you're looking for.
And they're generally good quality. Like people just again and like I think you mentioned a toy line that I haven't even heard of before. There's so many divergent product. Like even talking to Joe, like because we don't live anywhere near each other, even though we're best friends. He'll be like, "Yeah, it's 3.0 or hot." What was the Transformer line that you talked about? I was like, "Wait, what?" Like there's so, and that's a major IP, but there's so many branch and niches out there where I'm like, what is all this? Like, what are you?
Honestly, I think the flip side of that is that it is such a good time to get toys, and there is so much of it, but it's at cost. Or like me and Dom had the ability to like, we would chuck $300 in a bucket between the two of us and just rake in a mountain of GI Joe stuff. Like I have a USS Flag. I did not pay like more.
$50. I got mine for $50.
I probably paid $50 to $100 for it. I mean, like, and it's like I'm like, and people now are just like, I'll give you $3,000. I'll give you three. Like, and you're just like, what in the world? You know, like me and Dom, if we were trying to recreate our GI Joe collection in its current state now, it would cost so much money.
Yeah, and back to the adult thing.
Hey, done with those GI Joes? We'll give you $100. You know, like
make sure that house, the house insurance is covering all that. Make sure you get pictures of all that.
Yes.
Don't forget.
I actually started looking at collector's insurance because I don't think my house insurance alone will cover my collection.
Like I don't think it will either. I do.
So I started looking at collector's insurance.
Man. I think I have an additional 100,000 on like extra stuff. So but I don't know.
5 of your Hot Toys. You'll get 5 of your Hot Toys back. That's
5 of your Hot Toys.
I don't have the expensive ones. I really don't.
You made a good point, and it's just funny to hear you tell Joe that because Joe tells me that with Marvel Legends all the time. Where I'm like, look, I got this Marvel Legends. But he's like, I got one awesome Batman. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should.
My thing
but that's
was
like this is the Batman. This is the only Batman I need. You know, I'm done. Like I got one.
That was the thing is I wanted the premium of. All right, so I made Kylo Ren 5 times. Well, if you've been following my IG for a while, I've made him so many times. And I was like, I just want the premium version of Kylo. What's the best version? It's 1/6. All right, now I want Rey in the newest outfit, the premium version. It's 1/6. So I had the figure arts. I tried making my own Rey with soft goods. I made, like I said, Kylo a few.
Oh, was it me or him? Oh, it's him. Josh, no.
That makes it better.
Are we good? Are we good?
There you go. I can hear you. Yeah, there we go now. Yeah. Oh, you're back. Yeah. Hey,
oh crap! I don't even know where I was at.
That's okay. I want you to rank Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren. Go. Rank them.
As far as what?
Just how cool they are. Rank them.
Rank them in
I don't
what?
care about their height. I don't care about their bench press. Like, rank them how cool they are. Which one's better? Who's the top out of this 3? Maul,
Vader,
Kylo Ren.
Vader. He just has more of a story.
Okay. Who's number 2?
Oh, Kylo and then Maul. Because I really don't care about Maul that much.
So, I think Maul is animalistic and he's just venomous. Like when he was, so again, I hated Phantom Menace, but he was pacing back and forth, waiting to get in there to kill. I was like, whoa,
so
dude.
good.
I don't have enough story about Maul though. There's not enough unless I watch Clone Wars and all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
But as far as live action, I don't have. I mean, but Vader has some awesome comic stories too that we'll never see live action.
True. But Vader has enough presence on screen that
yeah.
You know, you're right. Maul is very, very lacking in terms of like unless you watch Clone Wars and stuff.
I'm okay with
he's
that.
just
I'm okay.
Like he was there for 1 second and he's gone.
They never should have gone in depth.
I like Ray Park.
3 movies.
Ray Park is cool. Ray Park.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So
are you kidding? He was Toad.
I didn't realize this.
It's true, he was.
I didn't realize this till last year, but I love inflicted bad guys who become good. Storm Shadow, Kylo Ren, Brax from Exo Squad. Who's the kid from Avatar who burns his face? All of them.
Oh, Zuko.
They're all my favorite villains, and they're all conflicted. Kylo Ren's confliction. Everybody's like, he's so whiny. I'm like, no, he's not. He's torn apart. Look at this guy.
Like, he's the Luke Skywalker of the new trilogy.
He killed his dad.
Have you seen Luke Skywalker in Episode 4? All he does is whine.
Yeah. No, I thought Kylo Ren was phenomenal. I loved it, the mask, and then we took off. Yeah, they were like, oh, why'd you take your helmet off? I'm like, because he's shucking off that part. Like I love.
It's more It's more symbolic. I don't want Driver without the helmet on either, but it's a symbolic thing. Like, you know, and yeah, I like him. He's hilarious. The Saturday Night Live stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
The undercover boss.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. So good. It's so good. He's making fun of himself. It's so good. It's
Adam
so
Driver's,
good.
I mean, he's a great actor.
He's like.
But
well,
yeah,
and I think you're stupid. And like, just
I thought he did great as Kylo Ren.
amazing.
Yeah, no, I think going way back that and having my boys helps with this a lot because they'll watch something and like they'll see a thing like, oh Dad, I really like this. I'm like, what? Yeah, you're right. And like they're very sharp and they'll point out things. I'm like, that was pretty cool. And like I introduce stuff like we're watching The Simpsons together right now. But at the same time they're watching some animated show where I was like, what is this? And then they're like, Dad, it's this and this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. You're right. But I would have just passed over that had they not influenced me into that, right? And it's the same thing, I think, if you walk in with just being like, let me see what this presents, rather than like, yeah, prove yourself, new trilogy, prove yourself. It's like
It doesn't do any good.
I had fun watching those movies. I enjoyed hearing a TIE fighter scream in a theater, scream across the screen. I was like, ooh, I got goosebumps. Like it was just
It's just that little bit of stuff. Like it doesn't have to be the whole story or every character has to be on point. It's just the little things. Like when Poe's joking and everyone's like, that's so stupid. They wouldn't do that. I'm like, it was cool. Like
yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
It was fun. And you still I still felt like I was in an X-Wing. That's what I thought. A lot of people complained about it. And I was like, you're still in the X-Wing. It still feels like the 80s feel, like or 70s feel inside of an X-Wing. Yeah. And yeah. I don't know. I loved it.
I think what that speaks to also is, and I'll assume this of you, is that you still have that childlike part. You still have the imagination. That spark is still there where I don't need to see the carbon copied. I'm like, oh yeah, I appreciate, like, just like my boys, they're 5 and 7. But Eric from No You Grow Up is the same way too. Like he has just this imagination, appreciation of stuff. And I appreciate that quality, Josh. Like that's a good lens to have. It just allows you to enjoy things. And like toys should be fun. You know, I mean, people say that, but like, I don't know, are they having as much fun? Like you clearly have fun with your setup. Like
I think the complaining
actually, that's
about
the one
it.
thing I take away from you.
Yeah.
It's easier to complain though. It really is. I mean, and there's enough things to complain about. I could go all day on Lightning Collection of what I don't like. I even said in one of my recent little reels, I was like, this is the best figure yet by Hasbro. And then I started taking pictures like, this sucks. Like this thing's no good. I don't know why I said it. It's already out there. So that's it.
You can, again, this goes to criticism and critique, right? Like I love Joy Toy.
First of all, yeah, there can be a best
feedback,
thing of Batman or Lightning Collection or Green Ranger or whatever you want to call it, but like there can be a best thing, but there can also be like this is the best, but it's still not good enough.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
or just
wrong with,
problems.
Yeah,
the seamless, like without the joints and stuff like that. I was like, this is the best looking figure we've had yet so far. Now when I started moving it later on, I was like, oh, I don't like the drop down hips. I don't like the neck, how they redid the neck, but I love the new hands. I love the new this.
Mm-hmm.
Let that be
like the shoulder, and they can do
anyone
this.
out there who's dating, looks aren't everything. Okay, I think that's the big takeaway here. It was a good looking figure, but looks aren't everything. So,
it's true.
Dude,
or when half the team is one way and the other half
we can
is
still hang out, but we're gonna end this
all right.
ramble. We're gonna end this ramble.
Sorry, guys. I'm not sorry.
No, you shouldn't be sorry. There you go. Yeah, be mean. You're too close to Canada. I think that's the problem. You're too close to all those guys. You're just like, sorry.
So close.
Now, I would like an apology for how many times you've said I'm sorry.
I can't now.
Josh, thank you so much for coming on our show. Thank you for hanging out with us afterwards. Like, really, obviously, just fun to be able to talk to you. We definitely want you to come back on.
I did that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks, man. Do you want to give any final plugs or anything like that? You want to shout out to anything?
No, we already did all this.
I'm already good.
I don't
already
remember.
good on plugs.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's good.